Well, hello everybody and welcome back into the gardens for kind of a drizzly, damp, kind of a Sunday here. But I wanted to take a quick moment to step outside instead of, like hiding down in the basement in the rain like I normally do, to show you some of the fruits and berries that we've got kicking around the property, because they have turned out to be excellent pollen sources for the early season bees here. Even though it's still May and technically we shouldn't be starting our gardening until June, yeah, several of these varieties have flowers, and I have seen quite a few big fat bumblers just having a heyday wrecking their way through those. So I thought I'd show you what's already got flowers here in Westman near the end of May. So yeah, let's look around the yard and garden. Easily the first thing to throw any flowers out this year, as well as last year if I recall correctly, would be this Polar Jewel Honeyberry. I was theorizing to Shocks the other day that perhaps it's called a honeyberry because it throws those flowers out so soon. You can't see them anywhere near as well at the moment as I could, well, before it started raining 2 days ago. We've had some very serious winds and rather ugly hailstones that have kind of knocked this bush around a little bit more than I'd like. But I'm fairly certain the bees had already thoroughly pillaged the pollen from each and every one of those flowers, because even with this big bumbler on there now, it's not spending a lot of time at any one of those sources. It's kind of like, no, tapped out, no, tapped out, moving on, tapped out, tapped out. So this has been great to have around, and when we do get started with our own honeybees, I am definitely going to want to have, well, a lot more of them going, so that right away, early season, they have got a very healthy supply of pollen to start, building the colony with, and ultimately, once they start to have extra, that's when I get to have some for the cupboard, right? Pretty sure that's how that arrangement works. Wish I could trust the zoom on these cameras a little bit better, but that is a nice big fat bumbler right there. All right, so the next thing that produced flowers was a very similar bush, but much smaller. It's this Borealis hascap here. And again, because of the rain and the wind and everything, can't really see them as well as I would like. But there we have a couple. You can see still open. These have only been open for, I'd say, a day or two. So there is still some pollen in here, but the bees haven't quite found it yet. Now, of these two berry types, I prefer this one here because it has a larger, juicier berry. But with that said, the earlier flowering honeyberry back there throws up easily 2 to 3 times the numbers and will get to be a significantly larger bush. So I think I'll be growing those ones for bee food and these ones for me food. But either way, they flower nice and early. So that is, to me, very exciting for how well our honeybee colonies will do and how well the garden will do, because all of the natural bees are going to know, okay, right away, beginning of the season, these bushes are here, so they're going to come here, and they're going to continue to come here once that's an actual garden. So the third thing to throw on flowers this year actually was quite a surprise to me. This is the pear tree that we brought home in the car last year, and I really didn't think we'd see much of it for the first couple of years. But I was looking at all the branches and the tags, and I think we have beautiful little blossoms forming from all 3 of the different types that are supposed to be represented on this tree. And if that's the case, then we might actually get some fruit off it in this first year, which would be fantastic. And even if we don't get fruit off it, again, it has been a valuable early season food source for the bees. Oh, look, one of these is just even open over here. Don't know if I can get it on the camera very well. Hopefully, I'm kind of stretching up for it there. Yes, very exciting, very exciting. Nothing on the cherry yet, but the Saskatoon, way over by the chickens, has already got flowers on it as well. So here we have the Smokey Saskatoon berries that we brought with us from the Okanagan. I do believe it is a different variation than the ones we have out front, because I have yet to see any flowers forming on the one out front. But this one here, even though it gets a little bit more shade and is from a warmer climate, is already putting them out. So that is fantastic news, as I'm kind of thinking about this spot here for our first couple of beehives. So once we get started on that, we'll see how that goes. But if they're flooding out past this Saskatoon berry bush and it's got flowers on it from the start of the season, it should do fairly well, I would think, which works well for me. I'm sure these ladies will be happy about that. Probably grab a few bees as they go by, but you know, we call those acceptable losses, I guess. It's been a couple weeks yet, still haven't checked on either of these tinfoil packages, but I will do that soonish. Maybe next week, we'll have to see. I've been told they don't take anywhere near as long as I was thinking. Looking at the gooseberry here, we can see where its flowers are about to develop. So I'm pretty sure that this will be bush number 5 to start feeding the bees. And that is fantastic. Looks like there's going to be, again, a lot of flowers on here this year. We had lots of flowers, but not too many fruit last year. It's a slow growing bush, but it's pretty. It's a good survivor, and it'll get there eventually. So, you know, permaculture, it's long-term gardening, isn't it? It's a beautiful shade of green this morning, though, with that gentle rain. I tell you what. So that's about that, and that is where I'm going to wrap it up today. I just thought we'd take a look around at some of the you know, blossoms and flowers that are coming up on these fruit and berry bushes, and yeah, discuss the value of permaculture for feeding the bees, wild or domestic. So I hope you have enjoyed today's video, and I hope you have a wonderful week of much brighter weather than I'm dealing with right now, and I will see you again next Sunday. Take care, everybody.